Today, kids have the entire world at their fingertips, 24/7. But back in the 1980s, we had a sacred appointment. If you missed the intro, you missed the adventure. There was a desperate, beautiful urgency to those Saturday mornings that made every frame of Scooby-Doo or He-Man feel like a gift. We weren't just watching cartoons. We were members of a secret club that only gathered at the break of dawn. Every Saturday started almost the exact same way. Bare feet touching a cold floor. Walking slowly through the hallway so nobody's bedroom door creaked loud enough to wake the house up. The kitchen light usually stayed off. You didn't need it anyway. You already knew where the cereal boxes were. Cap'n Crunch, Lucky Charms, Frosted Flakes. Sometimes whatever was cheapest that week. And somehow, it always tasted better on Saturday morning than any other day of the week. Then came the television ritual, turning the knob, hearing that burst of static before the picture appeared. Sometimes the channel came in perfectly. Sometimes you had to stand there adjusting rabbit ear antennas wrapped in aluminum foil until the screen stopped looking like a snowstorm. And the second the cartoon ended, the whole morning changed. Most of us sat way too close to the TV, wrapped in a blanket, bowl balanced on our knees. The volume turned low enough so adults stayed asleep a little longer. Outside, the sun was just beginning to come through the windows, but inside, the living room still felt like its own little world. And that may have been the best part of all. For a few quiet hours, the house belonged to us. There was something comforting about hearing that Scooby-Doo intro start on a Saturday morning. It didn't feel like danger, even when there was a monster on screen. It felt like play pretend fear. The kind where you stayed half hidden behind a couch pillow, just in case, but you were still smiling. You remember the mystery machine rolling through endless foggy streets, Scooby and Shaggy panicking over nothing, and the gang slowly pulling everything apart piece by piece. And somehow, it always ended the same way. Just a guy in a mask. That's what made it safe. As kids, we learned that most fears weren't real. They were just stories waiting to be unmasked. The Smurfs felt like a world you could fall into and never want to leave. Tiny blue characters living in mushroom houses, somewhere far away from anything complicated. Saturday mornings slowed down a little when this show came on. Even the colors felt softer. There was Papa Smurf, always calm. Smurfette, standing out in a world of blue. And Gargamel, who never really felt terrifying, just persistent in a way you didn't take seriously. As kids, we didn't think about story structure or origins. We just wanted to be there, in that small village where nothing felt urgent. Maybe that's why it stayed in memory so clearly. It was a place where the world felt simple enough to understand. Muppet Babies didn't feel like a cartoon so much as it felt like permission to imagine. Everything in that nursery could become something else. A box could turn into a spaceship. A blanket could become a mountain. Nothing stayed ordinary for long. That's why it hit differently. It wasn't about watching adventures. It was about realizing you could create them yourself. Kermit, Piggy, Gonzo. They weren't just characters. They felt like kids who understood what it meant to turn boredom into entire worlds. And maybe that's the real reason it stuck with us. Before screens started doing the imagining for us, this show reminded us that imagination was something we already had. Garfield and Friends felt like Saturday morning slowing down even further. The energy dropped. The jokes came in lazy, sarcastic waves, and somehow that fit perfectly with pajamas, cereal bowls, and half-open eyes. Garfield wasn't trying to be a hero or solve mysteries. He just existed, complaining about Mondays, loving lasagna, and judging everything around him like he had already figured life out. As kids, we didn't fully understand the sarcasm, but we felt the mood. It was comfort disguised as humor. Looking back, it almost feels like the cartoon matched the rhythm of those mornings. Slow, warm, and a little sleepy. Like the day hadn't fully started yet, and nobody was in a rush to make it begin. The first time Spider-Man showed up on a Saturday morning, it felt different. Not just another cartoon, something bigger. Something that made the room feel a little more important than it actually was. Spider-Man teaming up with Iceman and Firestar didn't just feel like teamwork. It felt like possibility, Like maybe anyone could belong in a world like that. And after the episode ended, you didn't just sit there. You moved. You ran outside. You jumped off the couch pretending you had powers you absolutely did not have. Back then, superheroes didn't belong to movies or universes. They belonged to Saturday mornings. And for a while, that was enough to make an ordinary kid feel like anything was possible. There was something almost electric about the moment He-Man lifted that sword. It wasn't just a transformation. It felt like a switch flipping inside your imagination. 1 second, he was Prince Adam. The next, everything changed. And every kid wanted to shout it with him. By the power of Grayskull, even if you didn't fully know what it meant, you still felt it. You'd grab whatever was nearby, a plastic toy, a stick, even a cereal spoon, and suddenly it became a legendary weapon. Looking back, He-Man wasn't really about battles or villains. It was about that feeling of standing a little taller, even as a kid, believing you could become something stronger than you were. Transformers didn't feel like a cartoon. It felt like machinery coming alive on Saturday mornings. One moment it was a truck or a jet or something ordinary sitting in the world, and then suddenly it wasn't. That transformation moment never got old. Even if you had seen it 100 times, you still waited for it like it was magic. And then came the arguments. Not serious ones, but playground debates that mattered deeply at the time. Autobots versus Decepticons. Optimus Prime versus Megatron. Everyone had a side, and nobody switched easily. It wasn't just a show. It was toys, imagination, and identity all mixed together in a way that made childhood feel loud, fast, and alive. Thundercats always felt like it was happening somewhere far beyond anything you knew. The opening alone sounded like a call to something bigger than Saturday morning. You didn't just watch it, you leaned into it. The world felt ancient, strange, and full of mystery. Characters didn't just exist in scenes, they moved through landscapes that felt endless. As kids, we didn't question any of it. We just accepted that this was another universe running alongside ours, one Saturday morning at a time. And somehow, it made the world outside your window feel a little larger too. The G.I. Joe had a different kind of energy. Everything moved fast. Explosions, missions, lasers, chaos. But somehow no one ever got hurt in a way that stuck with you. It reset every episode. And then there were those endings, the PSA moments, a short lesson dropped right after all the action, like a quiet reminder tucked inside the noise. Now you know. At the time, it felt normal. Looking back, it feels almost unique, a cartoon that mixed adventure with small lessons you didn't even realize you were absorbing. It was action, but it came with structure, a beginning, a battle, and a message at the end. And then there were the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the moment Saturday mornings stopped feeling like just cartoons and started feeling like a full cultural wave. Everything about them stuck. The pizza, the sewer lair, the colors, the attitude. You didn't just watch TMNT, you picked one. Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, Raphael. And that choice somehow mattered in playground logic. Lunchboxes changed. Backpacks changed. Toys filled bedrooms in ways no other cartoon quite managed. But what really made it unforgettable was how alive it felt. It wasn't distant fantasy. It felt like something you could step into, even if just for a moment. By the time TMNT came on, Saturday morning wasn't just a routine anymore. It was the peak of everything childhood felt like at once. Then the last theme song would fade out. The screen would switch to something less exciting, and you just knew the morning had crossed over into something different. You'd get up slowly, still half inside the cartoon world, and start changing out of pajamas. The TV stayed on for a little while longer, but it didn't feel the same anymore. The spell was already breaking, and then your parents were awake. The house shifted back into real life, but Saturday mornings were never just about cartoons. They were the doorway into Saturday, the part of the day where everything still felt open before the world decided what it was going to become. Over time, the feelings started to fade, not all at once, but slowly. Cartoons stopped belonging to a single morning. They moved into channels, then into schedules that didn't matter anymore, and finally into screens that never turned off. Streaming changed everything. You didn't have to wait anymore. You didn't have to wake up early or rush to the TV. Everything was always there. When nothing is rare anymore, it becomes harder to feel excited about it in the same way. It wasn't better or worse. It was just different. Because when something is always available, it stops feeling special. And Saturday morning was never really about cartoons. It was about waiting for them. Nobody told us when the last Saturday morning happened. There was no final credits roll. It just slowly faded away as life got louder and sleep became more important. We didn't realize we were making memories. We just thought we were watching cartoons. But looking back, it wasn't about the screen. It was about that quiet blue glow in a house that belonged only to us. We were the lucky ones. We grew up when childhood still had a schedule. What cartoon instantly takes you back to that exact feeling? Sitting in your living room on a Saturday morning when the whole day still felt wide open?